Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And good afternoon. Good afternoon South Africa, but obviously, depending on where you're coming from, it's either morning, afternoon on your side. Thank you so much for making the time to join us at this information session. I'm Neil Vindero. I am the market data product owner, and I'm the lead on this project. So I'll be taking you through the first couple of slides. And then I'm going to hand over to Mark Bird, who represents our solutions provider, and then he'll take you through the next lot of slides, and he'll also go through the actual demo with you. All right. At any point in time, please raise your hand, pose a question through the webinar. We'll look out for it. And we hope that you're going to get a lot of value from this presentation. Right. Thank you. Sorry. And before I forget, I just want to raise, just for transparency's sake, we are recording this session just for the benefit of those that could not make the session, and for your benefit. And we will also be sharing this deck after the session. We are having another one in tomorrow, and then we are also provisionally scheduling two for mid-February, just in case people want a refresher and to catch any clients that weren't able to make these two first sessions. Right. Thank you. All right, Mark.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Looking forward to presenting the project and some specific technology around reporting. I'm from Data BP, and we are JSE's technology partners as they take their market data platform online and into the future.
Cool. Thank you, Mark. I think you can go to the next slide. All right. So this is the agenda. So it's like literally structured into three main parts. I'm going to cover the business overview, and this is for the benefit of all clients. I'm then going to hand over to Mark, who's going to cover the project overview. We then are going to have a 5-minute leg stretch just to allow clients that aren't reporting and don't have a reporting obligation to leave, because the focus then will shift over to the first phase of this project, which is reporting. And part of that third section will be Mark demoing some of the screens. So I think it'll be very useful to actually see what the screens look like and to try and get like an experiential feel for it. Yeah, it's absolutely important that when you have attended the session and you've looked at the presentation, and I think one of the slides does cover it in enough detail, we are going to invite you to contact us and start requesting user IDs for the demo site. So we're going to open up a demo site for you. You then can play at your heart's content. The good thing about this demo that we're going to make available is that it will actually present your data to you. So it's not going to be fictitious data, which is going to be quite helpful because you'll be able to see exactly what you will see in your world, because you will be working with your data. And just once again, just to manage expectations, what you will see through the demos is really just the first big deliverable of this project, which will be the reporting. So it's the value at the start will be mostly for the reporting client, and then when we do phase 2, we'll bring in all the other functionality and all the other value. Thank you, Mark. Okay, and the next slide. Yeah, so this is really just a little bit about the why, what, how. Obviously the trend internationally, and we're certainly following the trend, and we pick it up from speaking to other peer data providers and exchanges, is that everyone wants to make life easier for their clients. Business is becoming complex. Clients want a much more self-service kind of approach to business. They don't want to be dependent always on human beings. and they're very conscious about the world is moving, more and more strongly to a digital world, and they want processes to be speeded up. So our goal with this offering is going to be to improve your entire experience, from the way you interact with us, the way you license for our data and obviously unlicensed, the way you see your product inventory, the way you report usage, and by no means the way you actually do agreements with us is going to change quite a lot. We're working with DataBP. DataBP is a very mature, industry-leading solution provided by DataBP. It's already been used by quite a number of data providers and clients, and exchanges. And DataBP are customizing it to suit our unique needs. But we're going to leverage a lot of the way the solution has been constructed generally for everyone, and we're always going to reap the benefits of the innovation that will come with the solution. And I'll cover a little bit more in the subsequent slides. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, so these are just some value sections here. I'm not going to cover everything in detail, but I'm just going to, showcase some sort of eye catchers for each. Self-service is going to be quite a big thing. You'll be able to view the data, you'll be able to view the product inventory, you'll be able to request to be licensed for something, and equally to stop subscribing to a particular license. You'll be able to have access to a lot more information. You'll never lose that human touch. So your account manager will always be there, but you'll at least be able to also then track the progress of your request, which is great. From an easy access perspective, because it's an internet-based solution, you'll be able to access it any time of the day, and the only times it'll be unavailable will be very select off-peak periods where DataBP will have to do maintenance on the solution, but those will be pretty rare, and we will inform you when this happens. But otherwise, you wherever you are in the world, you will have the ability to tap into the solution and not have to wait on a market data person to enable you or to actually assist you. In terms of information on tap, because it's going to be a solution where we will make a lot of data available, this will become sort of like I've used the cliche with a lot of people about the center of your universe, because you'll be able to see what you subscribe to, you'll be able to see your product inventory, you'll have the ability to run a number of different reports, and also a nice touch is you'll be able to see all your agreements, your base agreements, and all the historical updates that have happened over time. I do know sometimes we've had some horror stories where clients have contacted us and said, their colleague has left the company, and they have no sense of where the original hard copy agreement is. So all that information will be on tap, and I think that's going to be very helpful. The big one, obviously, no paper agreement. So we're going to move our agreements totally digitally, and this extends right to signing the agreement. So we're going to be making the use of a third-party electronic signature provider called DocuSign. DataBP is going to make sure that it integrates well into their solution. So no more carrying agreements back and forth, and we feel that this in itself is going to be quite a big one, because it's going to shorten the end-to-end process. Okay, because right now, obviously, that takes quite a lot of time and pain, and we hope that it's going to, the rewards are going to come out of it. From a user-friendly reporting perspective, DataBP's got rich reporting capabilities, and you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to report your numbers. You'll be able to see get a lot more functionality than what our current reporting solution provides. And this is what this reporting capability is what we're going to introduce in phase 1, and this is what Mark is then going to cover in subsequent slides and through the demo. All right, I just want to take a quick pause, but just to make sure before, Mark, sorry, if you go back, let's just take a quick pause before we go to the next slide, just to see if there's any questions. All right, okay, Mark, if you can move on to the next one. So as much as what will change, I felt it important to also just reveal some very key aspects that will not change. Now, one thing that definitely will not change is that it will not replace the human touch. You will still have a designated account manager, and you will have other team members that will engage with you and who you can call on for help. All right, so this is by no means a call center mode where you're going to be talking to a screen, a computer, and when you have a problem, you have no one to talk to. All right, so it doesn't replace that. It complements what we already do for you in terms of providing you with service. We feel that this is like a very important point to make a note of, so that whoever you deal with right now, that is the same person until we tell you any differently. The other one around billing is that because Data PP have got a very rich solution in terms of functionality, and they can literally do right up to billing from their solution. But for good reasons, because a lot of our clients take multiple services from us, we have to do the billing from our side. So while we're still in discussions with Mark and his team around, what can be presented from like a pro forma invoice perspective, the actual formal invoices will still be generated by JSE systems, and you will still get it from the JSE. So clients that are perhaps like trading members and data clients, you will still get an integrated invoice that includes market data billing. I felt that this was an important point to note. And the other one is the data product enablement. Okay, and Mark's been educating us quite a bit around the differences between products and licenses, but we now we just see product and license being one of the same. And what I mean by enablement is that you license for the product, for a particular product, and there's still a technical process where we still have to figure out if you're going to be a direct subscriber, how to connect to our systems, how to get hold of the data, and that won't change at all in a bigger way. And there are still, if you're a live client and there are certain characteristics that you fall under, there might be different agreements like the JSA that you'll still have to follow. But we will very carefully through our account managers explain exactly when the JSA is applicable or not, and that's the value that the account managers will still bring to the table. Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, so that is really just my business intro. There will be slides there. We will provide contact details. We welcome any questions, and we will respond accordingly. Mark's now just going to talk about the project side of things. He's going to explain the different phases, the kind of functionality that will come into each phase, and then he will then lean into the reporting side of things. All right, Mark, I hope I've teed you up nicely.
Perfect, Neil. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and happy to have you. As Neil has mentioned, we're approaching this project in 2 phases. The first phase is focused on reporting, and that's usage reporting, AUM reporting, your reporting back to the JSE. Phase 2 then will be looking at things like onboarding, requesting new data products, vendors managing their requests and approvals, getting your agreements online, getting e-signature, and all of those self-service things. So as such, phase 1 is, even though we're moving to a new platform, we're really trying to keep things the same. So people who are reporting now, you're not going to find that this is a big disruptive change. Yes, it will be a new interface, and we'll take a look at that today. But the goal is to make a nice, smooth transition to the new portal. At the top of this slide, you see the portal URL, and some notifications and information will be emailed to you from the portal, from that email address. But again, phase one, we're really just going to try to make it nice and comfortable. No big jolts for you in phase one. Then phase two is where we start to take processes that today are offline and bring them online. And so that's where we get the real benefit, is once we get into phase two, now the goal of self-service, not just for your reporting, but for all aspects of your market data interaction with the JSE, in terms of managing your users, managing contacts, managing your agreements, signing up for new services, managing approvals and requests. That's where we're going to start seeing things that are today offline processes brought online, so that everything is there for you in one place. So we're going to spend the bulk of the second half of this presentation talking about reporting, and we'll do some live demos and take a look at how all that works. But let's talk about it a little bit right now, just for those who might not stick around for the second half. Today, there are 3 different ways that you can be reporting to the JSE. And Neil mentioned that word products, and we call those products licenses in a particular context. And a license means when you're reporting your usage of a product in a particular way. This is the interface where you log in and you see a list of your JSE products, and you just enter a quantity for those. And we call that license-based reporting. And today for the JSE, you do that on a monthly basis, and that will continue. Another format for reporting to the JSE is authorized clients. And in this format, instead of just plugging in a number that goes with a license, you actually list the downstream clients that are authorized to receive that data product. We call this subscriber-based, and it too is a monthly reporting obligation. And then finally, some folks will report their assets under management. They do that in a quarterly frequency, so it's a little bit different, and we'll take a look at that. Most reports, though, are submitted monthly, and for those reports that are monthly, it's the 15th of the month that those reports are due. All of this doesn't change. So new platform, new interface, but nothing changing about the frequency or the due dates. All of these things can continue to be the same. Now, so I've just gotten through saying how we're going to try to make reporting change as little as possible and be a nice, easy transition. There is one aspect of reporting that is new, and that will come in the future. You're not going to be hit with this right away, but at some point, we're going to introduce what we call location-based reporting. And you can think of location-based reporting as if if you're doing licensed-based reporting today, where you're just plugging in a single number that you sum up all of the different data distribution that you're doing, and you just put it into that one number. Location-based reporting asks you to actually specify the location details. And this is a very common reporting format throughout the industry. And JSE will start to roll that out. It's not going to be a big bang. Your market data account representatives will work with you to do this when it's your time. But I did just want to let you know that it's out there as an option. Some of you might prefer it, since you may be reporting this way to others. And there are lots of different formats that you can use, which is another nice plus about location-based reporting. We've got the web interface we'll take a look at today, but here I'll also show you an Excel interface that you can use from the application, and you can always use those traditional formats like VARs and VRXML that have been a part of our industry for many years. Another benefit for those of you that want to get more fully automated is the ability then to FTP those files or secure FTP those files to the JSE. So it's even possible here that reporting can become a fully automated process. So that's something to look forward to. What we're going to look at today, we'll spend a lot of time in the second half of the presentation, is the web-based reporting portal. And we'll compare and contrast the way the portal looks to your current experience, and then we'll go in and take a look at each of those reporting formats I mentioned to talk about how you report. Now, one interesting thing I want to point out here, this slide does a nice job of showing how one login, I'm logged in as a single person here, can have reporting permission for multiple profiles. So if you have multiple arrangements with the JSE and you're reporting for them under different umbrellas, let's say, you don't need to have different logins to the system. Those can all be consolidated under one user. So that's a nice advantage, something to take advantage of if you need. Okay, so phase one, we've talked about reporting. And again, the goal is to make it an easy transition, no big jolts. Phase two, though, is where all the benefits come and where we do start to change processes. I think the big word is self-service, and then the second big word I would say is automatic onboarding. That when you want new data from the JSE, be it accessing it directly, be it accessing it through a vendor, these processes can be initiated in phase two, will be initiated automatically by yourself rather than having to go through and find a human at the right time to help you out. We'll take a look at some screenshots in a minute, but lots of benefits even that beyond just the ability to self-serve. One nice feature we like of the application is our ability to take complex tasks like filling out a complex agreement and break it up into small bite-sized pieces, step by step, that then not only make it easier because you're just focusing on one part at a time, but also allow us to put information in front of you that is clarifying, that helps explain policies. And so it's our goal here is to make the onboarding and contracting experience not a laborious one, but rather one where you come away feeling like, now I'm empowered to know what I can do with these data products and what are my obligations and responsibilities now that I'm accessing these data products and using them in a new way. Obviously, dynamic contracts are a big benefit as well. Neil mentioned the aspect of onboarding where okay, we've got the contract, and now I need to run it by my legal, and we all know that that's a big time suck and you just want to get your data. Well, now with dynamic contracts, you're not going to have content in these contracts that doesn't specifically relate to the data product that you're purchasing and the usage of the data product that you are doing. So your legal team isn't going to have to wade through lots of verbiage that doesn't apply to them at all because these dynamic contracts have been made specifically for the products you've selected and specifically for your usage of those products. And Neil also mentioned DocuSign, which is another big benefit. Getting those digital contracts online and signed and countersigned via DocuSign is a great thing. And yeah, it's an integration point with the DataBP platform so that it looks and feels just like one nice experience, even though you're signing via DocuSign, which you're probably already doing and comfortable with doing. Let's see. Okay, easy access to in-flight licenses and data requests. So another benefit of digitizing all of this is that your access to what you already have becomes much clearer. You don't have to go wading through your contracts to find out if you have if you've signed up for a particular product, if you're using it in the right way. You can find that out all online. And one nice benefit with DataBP is that all this stuff is API enabled. So you can even be consuming this information digitally where that's helpful for you. So phase 2 is still out there. We're focusing on phase 1. I'm going to share the timeline with you in a minute. But what I have here are some of the prototypes and the mock-ups that we've done that will look like where we're going with phase 2. In the background, you see a screen that we call a catalog. So here's where you'll be able to come to the JSC site when you need to access a new product in a new way. You'll be able to search, find the product or products that you're wanting to access, and go through the workflow. And then the screen in the foreground is an example of one of those screens where we've taken one section of an agreement and broken it out in a way that we can present useful information for you, helping you as you go through the process. And here's an example of digital contracts. You sign right in the DataBP experience integrated with DocuSign. Requests and approvals differ a little bit from this onboarding that we've just talked about. Requests and approvals have specifically to do with vendors and when you are consuming data through a vendor. Vendors often need to get approval from the exchange before they deliver data, especially uncontrolled data, downstream. And this process can be, when it's offline and you're triangulating now between 3 parties, this becomes a lot of guesswork is involved, a lot of email inboxes with approvals, and then where these approvals can get lost. There's a lot of room, a lot of margin for error when you're having multi-party activity. So here's a great place to digitize, to get things online. Now everything is transparent. So when if you're a vendor, you'll be able to log into the portal, see all of the clients that you're approved to vend to, the products that you're approved to vend to them. If you're a client, you can come in, see products that you're approved to receive, vendors that have already been approved, and that transparency is another way to make the onboarding process, the general onboarding process, much more quick, much more streamlined. Again, here too, this is an API-enabled section. So some vendors, I think, will be interested in taking their onboarding process and integrating directly with this request and approval process. And that's something we look forward to doing. And this is just an example of some dashboards. If you're a vendor, for example, and in that screen in the background, you can log in. You can see how your requests are doing. Whose court is the ball in? If you submitted an approval request last week and you haven't gotten that notification back saying that it's approved, well, who's sitting on it? You can come in. You can see if the JSE is working on it. You can see if they've moved it over to the client and they're working on filling out their agreement, because that's often a task required to be done before approval can be granted. So again, transparency helps us know where things are and helps to move them along. And that screen in the foreground is our common client dashboard. where the details of any particular request are visible, and you can easily access any of those tasks that need to be done so approval can be granted. Okay, so everything we've talked about here in phase 2 so far has been kind of onboarding focused. It's either been filling out your order forms and browsing the catalog, getting some agreements, or maybe it's been working with your vendor, getting that approval request completed. There will be many other aspects of self-service that will be a benefit. Things like managing contacts and users and site permissions directly. If you have a new reporter, somebody who's coming to do reporting for you, no longer will you have to call up your market data rep and wait for them to set up permission. You'll be able to manage that yourself. Now, I should say that's in phase 1. You will still have to do that. We won't have that contact management feature until phase 2. So for phase 1, while you're reporting, when you have that new reporter, you will have to have it set up the old way. But then by the time we get to phase 2, you'll be able to manage that yourself, and that'll be a nice time saver. All of the account details, all of your agreements, everything related to your market data profile with the JSE will be online, and you will be able to see it and manage it. In addition, notifications and communication will be managed through the portal, making things very clear. And then we have lots of plans for the future about where we're going to go with future phases as well. So lots of things to look forward to. Okay, so we talked about the timeline for phase 1 and phase 2. So we've been, the JSE and DataBP together have been busy working together for the past couple of months on the reporting interface. And our target is to have a live date at the end of March for phase 1. So what that does that is nice is it gives us a nice period here to have what we call a sandbox period. We've set up a version of the site that I'm going to show you today that you'll be able to go in and play around in, play in the sandbox in the months of January and February. Hopefully you'll find that it's very intuitive, and that the reporting that you're doing today you're easily able to do on the new platform. But we wanted to give you that opportunity to get comfortable and to make sure you know what to do, so that when we do have that transition in March, that you're prepared. So then in January and February, we're going to be beginning the configuration of phase 2, and then we'll have a similar rollout in the future for those phase 2 items that we've talked about. Neil, any color to add to the project timeline?
Yes, thank you, Mark. If I may, a question that came from one of the attendees was when phase 2 will start. So I felt it right just to wait for the slide. So the way it's depicted on this slide is that we will start our planning in the early part of the year, and we intentionally have made it very vague at the end, because we are running this project in an agile manner. So we are discovering as we go along. So we don't want to firm up a date and then disappoint you. So at the right time, once we have a high degree of confidence in the work that's remaining, we will then share the go live date. But it will give you a lot of notice, and there will be lots of training and education ahead of the phase 2 go live. And we will also have then quite a few opportunities for you to actually play in the sandbox, in the demo solution. All right, so that's why we've intentionally made that end part of phase 2 disappear into the horizon. It's out of intent. Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, we're about at the halfway point. So what we've just accomplished is an overview of the project as a whole, both phase 1 and phase 2. What we're going to do now is pivot to specifically phase 1, and I'll do some live presentations of those different reporting formats that we talked about, so that everybody can feel comfortable when they go into the sandbox, knowing what they're doing.
Yeah.
We'll take a couple minutes break.
Mark?
Yep, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just use this opportunity? I just want to cover a couple of points that were asked by individual clients, but I felt will benefit everyone. The one question was, will the solution cater for more than one login for the client? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do appreciate that, clients have to have a backup and for contingency purposes. So we will be flexibly allowing more than one user ID to have ability to actually log on to a particular profile and do the necessary changes. Obviously, what the solution comes with, it comes with a lot of strong auditing as well, so we can actually see who's done what changes. The other one is just a housekeeping question: is are we going to share the recording and the demo copy? Yeah, we are going to share this deck through a hotline after the second education session. We will also point to where the recording will be available, and then obviously we will open up the floor for reporting clients to start asking for logon IDs to actually access the demo site, and all that information. I think some of it Mark will cover in later slides, and there'll also be repeat information in the hotline. All right, thank you, Mark.
Great. So why don't we just take a brief break? It's 9:12 right now on my calendar, so we will get started again at about 9:17. All right, everybody. Well, we're back. It's almost 9:17. We're very close. Why don't we go ahead and get started? So now we're going to take a look at phase one, the reporting aspect. We'll take a look at those different reporting obligations and look at how they'll work on the actual site. When it's March and we're going live, it's marketdataconnect.jsc.co.za/reporting that you will do your reporting. As you'll see, you'll be able to just go to the main portal and click on reporting at the top, and that'll take you right into the reporting section. Neil, anything to tee up before we dive further into reporting, or should I just take it away?
I've got a couple of questions, but I think if the attendees don't mind, I'll hold them in reserve for right at the end once you've covered everything, and then I'll just be sure to cover all the points. I think they're all very good questions. So I want to share them with all the attendees, the responses. I think some of them you're going to have to help us. They are really good questions, and I'm sure you will be able to help out.
All right, can't wait. Good stuff. Okay, so moving on, one thing that doesn't change, and again, that's going to be the theme here of phase one, is trying to change as little as possible, trying to give you a nice, easy transition. The reporting calendar doesn't change. Today for the JSE, you can begin reporting on the 1st of the month, and that 15th of the month is the final day when those reports are due. The portal will close shortly after, but it is the 15th of the month that those reports are due. That will continue to be the same. Now the system will be sending automated reminders as the months go by, as the weeks go by and the days go by in a given month. So you can look for those notifications to come your way on this schedule. Now, when we say that the portal is closed, it's a subtle difference. So I did want to point it out. If you come to the site then on the 19th or the 20th, past the reporting deadline, you'll see a message at the top telling you that the reporting portal is closed. Most importantly, though, you'll see that you won't have the report now buttons. So if you're delinquent, that's the system won't let you submit a report after it's closed. But I think you'll get there on time most of the time. So you should see those nice green report now buttons. We are going to have that sandbox for you in December and January. And it'll be very easy to sign up and get access. When you come to the site, you can click on the register link in the upper right-hand section of the site. Just enter your information just like you're used to. As long as you use the email address that you've been using for the JSE, then we've ported your permissions over automatically, and you'll be set up with the same reporting obligation that you already have. So nice and easy. All you have to do is remember to use the same email address, and you'll be set up automatically. If you want to use a different email address, or if you want to have somebody else at your firm play in the sandbox or begin doing the reporting obligation, no problem. Still come to the site and register, but then you will need to contact your market data account rep to permission you for your particular client so that you can report for your client. Okay, let's take a look at the different reporting obligations. So starting with the simplest, which we call license-based. It's license-based because we're simply reporting a quantity for a particular license. This is the one I think that looks most similar to what you're used to. Not very big big jolts here. You'll see one line per license, and you can enter your quantity there. So let's take a look. Now I'm at our site, and this is the landing page. And right now in phase 1, very simple menu bar. You only have the reporting obligation up top. As we move into phase 2 and all of those other self-service actions come on board, you'll start to see a lot more things that you can do up here in the menu bar. But for now, it's the reporting portal. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I've already given myself this particular user permission to do license-based reporting. When you log in and navigate to the reporting page, here you'll see any reporting obligations. Now, this is the most simple scenario that you can see, but it's one that I think is pretty typical. Whereas a user, I have permission to report just one type of thing for one firm. So John Doe here is reporting for Monument Investments, and it's the license-based reporting obligation, which means that when I click on the web form link, I'm presented with all of the licenses, all of the products for which I have a reporting obligation. Now,
Mark?
you'll see, yes, Neil.
Sorry, I can't remember if you mentioned it, but just in case, just to let everyone know that the client names that Mark is demoing are all fictitious. Okay.
That is true. I pride myself in making them sound real, but I did make them all up. Monument Investments is a creation of my mind. Yes. Thanks, Neil. Great. So when I'm in the application here, it's very straightforward. You'll see pre-populated your quantities reported last time, and then the application makes it very easy to see. All right, this is the one. This is what you've changed, and here's what it was last time. But it's pretty straightforward. There are some other features that are more useful for other obligations, so I'm going to share them a little bit later. You can always enter a comment. It's not required, but you can enter that as you want. Now, note that at the bottom of the reporting page, you can, if you realize you need to stop what you're doing, you can simply cancel the report, back out. Resetting the report will keep you here, but will set your numbers back to what they were last month. Save for later. We'll save these quantities. You can exit the page and come back before you submit. And so the thing to note is there are a couple of steps to submitting. It's not just entering your numbers, close your browser. You do want to make sure when you're ready, you click Submit Report, and you'll be presented with a summary screen. The summary screen is going to show you the things you changed. So you noticed on the previous screen, I had a good 15, 20 products there, but now I'm only being presented with the things that I've changed. So I can quickly eyeball that and confirm that it's right. And then we're going to ask you to tick the checkbox to affirm that the information submitted is accurate, and then submit the report. When you submit the report, you're returned back to the landing page, and the status of your report is indicated here. Now, something interesting about status is that the JSE will be setting up different rules. Some reports might just process automatically. And you see mine is saying that my report has been submitted. This means that the JSE is reviewing my report. what might cause a report to need to be reviewed rather than just going through right away? Something like a big quantity swing could flag a report for review. So that's just something to watch out for. In some cases, you'll see that this will be turned green right away, saying that your report has been received, and that now December 2020 will be the next month. Sometimes it'll say your report has been submitted, and that just means that it's under review at the JSC. Nothing for you to do, because it surely will be processed, or they'll be in touch if they have any questions. But that is why sometimes you'll see that your report has been submitted. Other times you'll see that it's been processed right away. Okay, so that is license-based reporting. Very simple. Let's take a look at the second, slightly more interesting reporting obligation. JSC calls it authorized client reporting, and we call it subscriber-based reporting, but it's really the same thing. What you're reporting in this context is not just a raw number per product, but you're actually listing out the companies that have access to that product, your customers that have access to that product. And so in the interface today, it's presented this way with checkboxes where the authorized clients are listed down the left side, and it's just a different order on the screen, but it's the same concept. Authorized clients appear at the top, and then for each a list of what products they have access to. So let's take a look. Okay, now first thing we notice since I've logged in as a different user, for working for investment services, my fictitious company, this person has two reporting obligations. All that means is that they do have a license-based reporting obligation as well. They have some products for which they just have to do it that simple way that we just reviewed, where they go in and just type in a number for each product. But then they have additionally some of that subscriber-based reporting obligation where they're going to list out their authorized clients. So nothing fancy here. It's just that we're going to submit two different kinds of reports. So you've got two obligations, two reports that you need to make sure you report each month. So let's take a look at that subscriber-based report. All right, here I'm logged in, and as we saw, the top part of the grid is populated with my subscribers. So I can click on any one of these subscribers and see the products that they have access to. Instead of a checkbox, it's just clicking on this slider. It's essentially a checkbox, just looks a little fancier. And I can turn on a particular product for the month in which I'm reporting. One nice little trick that I like is to use this autofill feature, especially when you have a long set of products. Maybe you've brought on a new customer and they're just taking everything. You just want to turn them all on. You can tick autofill, and the system will then let you just put one value in and have it flow down to everything else in the grid. And you'll see this as well, not just for things like this on-off toggle, but also for quantity controls. You'll see it throughout. So anytime that you have the same value that you need to enter more than once, you can use this autofill to make life easier for you. You know, sometimes I'll do the autofill on, and then even if, oh, but he didn't have that one, no problem. You can just turn that one off, and it works nicely that way. Another kind of little feature I want to call out is these toggles up at the top. So some of you who are reporting might like to think about, well, let me get my list of subscribers, and then for each subscriber, I'm going to tell you what products they have. Well, and I do need to mention, just as we saw in license-based, what you reported last month is saved and pre-populated this month. So you only need to worry about changes. You don't have to come in and tick the boxes on every subscriber every month. It'll be pre-populated with what you have for them. Oh, right, where was I going with that? Okay, and some of you might like to think about a particular subscriber and what data that subscriber has, but other people, you might think about it from a license first perspective. Maybe you want to say, for this particular license, these are the subscribers that have it. Well, you can do that too. Just click this toggle at the top right, and now your licenses are at the top and your subscribers are populated down below. And so you can do the same thing where you can use that autofill. You can easily go kind of in a license by license pattern instead of subscriber by subscriber. So we try to give you the choice to report the way that makes the most sense to you. Now, finally, in the subscriber reporting, you see that we've brought over the list of subscribers that you already have, but what about when you need to add a new one? No problem. You'll just want to make sure you click the green button. All you have to do is enter a name. If you have ID numbers that you assign to your subscribers, then that's great and useful, and you can go ahead and enter them here. This isn't a required field though. If you just list out your subscribers by name, that's totally fine. You don't need to enter that subscriber ID, and the system will plug one in for you. You don't even have to worry about it. You can always edit that subscriber name by clicking on the pencil icon. And once you've entered your new subscriber, then you can go ahead and set it just the way you want it to be. And from there, it's the same. Canceling, resetting, saving, or submitting the report, where you're presented with the changes to confirm before you send it over to the JSE. Maybe I'll pause here. Neil, any questions have come up that you think we should talk about first before we go through to the other obligations?
I've got a couple. I was going to wait till the end, but let's just see whether you prefer to help now, Mark, or later. So one client asked us, will the existing subscriber approvals be migrated across? And obviously, the subscriber approvals, and obviously yes. We will be sure that whatever approvals we have on record will migrate. We have quite a comprehensive data migration work stream running that's going to make sure all the data is going there. And then while we in the midst between phase 1 and phase 2, there will be a current process is still running to license and to do approvals, and then we will migrate that as part of phase 2, so that phase 2 takes over everything. I hope it answers that question. Someone asked a similar sort of theme question about additional licenses. So, as I think you presented, Mark, the solution will only present licenses that have got a reporting obligation. While phase 1 is running and phase 2 is yet to be delivered, we will still use our current processes to take on new licenses. But if there's a new license that has a reporting obligation, our team, through the use of the admin portal, will configure the solution so that that license then becomes available for reporting through the new reporting portal itself. And then I've got another question, but it's a more general question. I'll leave it for later.
Okay, and I'll just let me add color to that last one, because I think that is a great question, and it definitely highlights the phase 1, phase 2 difference. With phase 1, kind of anything outside of reporting stays as is. So when you reach out to your account rep and they set you up, you'll see now your new license ready for reporting on the system. But the process of getting that license there doesn't change. But then that's what phase 2 is all about, where you'll be able to come and have a much higher degree of self-service right here on the portal. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll save that other question for later, Neil. Sounds good. Great, so we've talked about 2 reporting obligations, license-based, subscriber-based. Now let's take a look at monetary reporting. It's going to look very similar to the license-based, to the monthly license-based reporting that we did, because what is it but a list of products and then a quantity that you put in for those products. Now, it's a much larger quantity typically, hopefully, because we're reporting rand rather than units or individuals or some smaller unit of count. The big difference, though, is that it is quarterly based. That you're reporting for a quarter rather than for a month. Now, so as such, you're going to have a different notification schedule for these products. You're not going to be reminded to report on a monthly basis, obviously. It'll be a quarterly reminder schedule, but the 15th of the month due date is still the due date for reporting, as it is for other reporting obligations. So now, and again, I've set myself up with 4 different logins for these these demonstrations, just so that it looks clean and simple. But I just want to remind that you don't have to do that. If you have multiple reporting obligations with the JSE, or if if you're reporting for more than one client, then you can have one login that has access to all of those things. So even though I set myself up with different logins for each kind of reporting obligation, don't feel like you have to do that. I only did it to make it look nice in the presentation. Okay, so here again, we've got somebody that has 2 reporting obligations for one client. And I think that's going to be pretty typical as well, that you'll have some license-based reporting where you're just putting in that quantity, but then you'll have quarterly reporting for your monetary reporting. So in this case, I'm going to go in, and you'll see that the interface is very similar to that monthly license-based reporting that we did. The only difference being that we're reporting for a quarter. Now, in the mock-up that we saw from the existing system, you noticed that your previous month's quantities were visible, or excuse me, the previous quarter's quantities were visible. Those are visible as well here in Data BP. It's just that you'll see them in the past reports section. So when you want to go and see quantities that you've reported previously, you just click on past reports, and that will take you to those sections. We haven't loaded that history yet in this environment, but when we're live and soon in the sandbox, you'll be able to see those your history by simply clicking on past reports. Okay, great. So we've covered the 3 reporting obligations that you're using today. So I just want to spend a little time and talk about this new location-based reporting. This, I don't think you're not going to see this in the sandbox. No one is going to go live with this on day 1, but it is something nice and new that's coming that you'll be able to take advantage of later on. So just getting a little taste of it, I think, is a good thing. Location-based is similar to subscriber-based in that you're entering a list of items and then giving either a quantity of units at those items. And as such, it can be a very lengthy report. Some of you might not have tons and tons of locations, and you'll be happy to manage it in the web UI, and you can. We'll take a look at that. But there might be some who would rather manage this kind of inventory in a file, and then there are several ways that we can generate and consume those files. So let's take a look at this one. So it looks like, so this report I have already started and I saved my progress. This is what the portal looks like when you come and you've already done some work and you save it and you come back. You'll just see this little message reminding you of that, and you can log in and resume that report. The interface looks very similar, doesn't it, to subscriber-based. The difference simply being that the locations that we're defining don't just have names, but they also have addresses as part of their components. And rather than having those on-off buttons, those checkboxes, you have a place to put quantities here. So here too is a nice use of that autofill. If that's something that you want to do, the system can populate the quantities down in a column for you automatically. Adding a new location, you do just like a new subscriber. Difference being that you also need to indicate where they're located. And again, that location ID, some of you might have identifiers in your world already for your customers' locations, but if you don't, that's okay. You can leave it blank, and the system will make one up as it goes. Let's see. Okay, so the web interface is very similar to everything that we've seen so far. Nothing very different there. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel my report this time so that I can get my interface back on the landing page. Now, rather than choosing web form, I can choose to upload by a file, for example, Excel. Now, so you've got options here too. If you have programmed your system to output an Excel file automatically, you can upload that file directly. You don't have to make use of the template that I'll show you. We also have FTP options for delivering those files. So here with location-based, you have the opportunity to really make this a fully hands-off automated process. But if you just like to work in Excel, you can always click the download button here. And what the system will do is make a template for you. And the template then is pre-populated with your last reported quantities and locations. And you can then simply make any adjustments, change any quantities, or add any new locations, remove any that are no longer in use, save that file, and send that up now as to fulfill your reporting obligation. So location-based reporting is something that you won't have right away, but when it comes, it does give you some nice options in terms of reporting differences. Neil, anything that I missed or any other questions that we should talk about?
Yeah, there's some absolutely great questions coming through. I'm probably gonna ask you to field most of them, and hopefully not throwing you under the bus, Mark.
Not at all.
But it does show you that people are obviously, you know, they're quite keen and they're asking all the right questions.
Right.
So the first one is, you know, in terms of TCB applicability, you know, my view is that the system at the start will cater for TCB. We already have some clients that report via TCB, and it will cater for it in the future. All right. So that is that hopefully answers the question. TCB is going to be a recognized format that the solution will handle on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely.
In terms of past reports, so one of the clients have asked, you know, how far back will we go on history in terms of showing their reporting? You know, how many years back? I know we've had a couple of discussions, Mark, around, but I wasn't sure whether we had absolutely firmed down the period we were going to go back and expose to clients.
Yeah, I don't think we firmed that down, but I think far is the short answer. As far as you need, for sure. We you know, looking in the data migration, we've been seeing that you have inventory back to 2006, 2007, and we can definitely load that in as long as you have that inventory.
Yeah, I think it's really, I think Mark will take guidance from the market data team, because I think it's really just a business decision based on the data versus the value. You know, but we will definitely provide a pragmatic range of historical data going back years. The extent of years, that's what we will then just firm up. The next question is location-based reporting. One of the clients asked, you know, would it be something to consider for phase 2 rollout? You know, my view is we haven't applied our minds yet, but it will definitely feature in the phase 2 scope and planning. But we will be conscious of the impact to the affected clients. So it will be very considered as to when we roll it out. You know, what obviously we have to take into account is that we don't want to overcomplicate, you know, the rollout of phase 2, because it will already be quite a meaty rollout of new functionality. So we don't want to overcomplicate it. And yeah, Mark, maybe let me ask the other question that I've got here is, one of the clients has asked what happens after the 18th. You know, and I don't want to put words in their mouth, but you know, obviously they want to do changes. It could have been that they finally got the numbers, or they realized that they made a mistake. You know, what capabilities will they have after the 18th?
Yeah, and here's a case where the process, the existing process, continues to be the process, and my understanding is you contact your market data account representative at that time, and they'll be able to help you out and to get things done.
Yeah, cool, thank you. And then the last question that came much earlier that I was holding back, but let me just talk to it, was one of the clients asked whether they'll be able to see who the designated account manager is. Will they be able to see the price list, and will they be able to see upcoming changes and notifications? So I'll take a stab at this one, Mark, and please chip in. Yeah. So I would think that you will be able to see who your account manager is. Okay, absolutely.
And that's
You will be
Neil. I brought that up on the landing page there. You have your account manager listed at the bottom.
Fantastic. How's that? Good tee up. Yeah. So as you log on the landing page, you'll be able to see who's your account representative. So that'll be quite great. From a process perspective, well, we have already stated early on that we will share the product inventory, so it will be much more visual. So instead of it being like an Excel spreadsheet, you will be able to see it through the actual front end. The value of the solution is that you'll also be able to work out through using the solution which licenses you've subscribed for versus not. The one interesting one, and I must admit we haven't chatted about it because it's a phase 2 kind of question, and we will certainly consider it, is the question of, will the client be able to see upcoming changes and notifications? I mean, off the bat, I haven't really applied my mind, and I don't think I've raised it with my colleagues in the market data team and with Mark, but I certainly see still a world for hotlines. I'm not seeing this replace hotlines, but Mark might wow us with some tricks and some gems that he has in terms of the solution, and we can consider to see whether we can, over and above the standard hotlines, see what we can place, make available through the portal. But I obviously don't want to make any sort of promises.
Well, yeah, you will be able to have a notification section, Neil, where you can be posting announcements and advanced warning for changes, things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. And then the location reporting question. So someone has asked whether it's mandatory or optional. It will be mandatory for anyone that has got the reporting obligation to report locations. All right, and we will be very careful to make sure that all the affected clients know this well ahead of time as part of the rollout of location-based reporting. I think that's it. I think hopefully, if anyone of the clients that raise questions don't feel that they got an answer, please just reach out. We will circulate the contact details, and please speak to your account manager as well. And we will be sure to give you a more comprehensive answer if you so require.
Great. Yeah. So Neil, to wrap up, do you just want to talk us through the kind of the calendar for phase 1 here?
Yeah. So we obviously are doing these education sessions now in December. We're doing one today. We're doing another one tomorrow. Very soon after that, we are going to, as part of our hotline communication, we're going to open up the demo solution. We will then obviously, provide to the people that request. We will provide logons. We will also be targeting refresher education sessions in mid-Feb, still for all clients. So pretty much it will be this kind of deck that we will do, but it will be a high focus on phase 1. And obviously we will embellish this deck with the good questions that came through, and then end of March we will go live with phase 1, the portal. So that's really it. We will. I think Mark and I have agreed that we will keep the demo solution up and running at least up until the mid-March, so that you have the absolute maximum amount of time that to familiarize yourself with the solution. And please, as you go play with the solution, you'll see your data. Please ask as many questions as you want. We want to be able to actually come out and leave no one behind, and make sure that everybody is in the right state. You will be getting reached out from some account managers who will, from time to time, just send you some progress checks just to see how you're doing. So just have patience with us. It's all for the good intention of making sure that you're all up and running. I've got one more question. Yeah. A compliment, so Mark, a good one to take is the portal's looking great. Any plans to simplify pricing model and very complex license requirements? Sure, that's a loaded question. We will always endeavor to do our best, but the solution obviously only does what we configure it to do. Our pricing is very much based on our circumstances and our business model. But yeah, what we will leverage off is the innovation that will come from Data BEP having the solution run with other exchange clients, and what's out there in the industry. But obviously, no, not to the point where it's seen as collusion or of any sorts. So we'll be very considered. All right. Okay, Mark, maybe let me talk to the next steps. So yeah, please review the content in this deck, ask questions through the email, ask questions through your account manager. Please request test user IDs, because we will know through test user IDs that people are actively engaged and with the solution. We hope you're excited by what you're seeing, and it's I've used the cliche with a couple of my colleagues about the promised land, and that you are seeing the promised land with phase 2 coming thereafter. We will be tracking your progress, doing checks from time to time, so please prepare yourself for go live. As you can see, it's from a reporting perspective, it's pretty much just a more modern version of our current reporting platform. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you all.
And have a great rest of your day then, everybody, and definitely give feedback as you're in the sandbox. Let us know how you're doing, and we definitely welcome feedback.